I did a decent job of what we talked about in the last episode of like setting routines and goals for the kids, but I forgot to think about me. And I think even saying that out loud as a Christian mom, I feel guilty about that. Like, we're not supposed to be about ourselves, but serving others. And I completely agree with that. But I think even when we look to Jesus, who that was his mindset too, Jesus also pulled away and had quiet time with the Father. He knew when his tank was low, and he knew what it was like to be able to kind of get away and get recharged. Hey moms, we are in episode 2 of our summer series. Well,
let's grow, girls.
You grow, girl.
You grow, girl. You grow.
Today, we are talking about how to grow your summer care. Moms are forever getting run down in the summer. And so I want us to talk about why that happens and what we can do about it.
Okay.
But to kick things off, I want to start, Rebecca, with a rapid fire. Now, hear me say rapid fire. You can't stew on this.
Okay.
Rapid fire. Would you rather summer mom edition?
Oh, I'm going to win this. Yes. I'm ready.
If there's something to win. Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
It's a competition.
You're going to win. I feel good about it. Okay. Would you rather spend 30 quiet minutes with a cold iced coffee or take a solo Target run with zero agenda?
Quiet moment coffee.
Would you rather have a spontaneous beach day, no packing, no planning, or sleep in guilt-free with blackout curtains?
Spontaneous beach day.
Would you rather have a full day where no one says mom or an evening where you don't have to cook, clean, or referee?
Evening, no cooking.
You're not going to clean or referee?
All the above.
Would you rather sit by the pool with a good book or get a professional massage in an air-conditioned spa?
Professional massage,
I
of
know.
course.
Is that even a question?
Is that even a question?
Would you rather have someone magically pack all the beach bags for you or have someone unpack, clean, and put it all away after?
Unpack, clean, and put away.
Right?
It'd be amazing.
How wonderful would that be?
Yes.
Would you rather listen to a podcast uninterrupted or watch a whole episode of your favorite show uninterrupted?
Podcast uninterrupted.
Do you ever get through a whole podcast?
No.
No, I know. And that's why I really we really try to keep these like 25 or 30 minutes. We forever go over, but it's like, I have so many podcasts I have started that I never get past that amount of time.
And I try to do it in the car, but then your kids get in the car and you can't listen to it. And so it takes like 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Would you rather have a magical laundry fairy all summer or a personal chef who understands kid-friendly and adult meals?
Oh, magical laundry fairy. Yes. We're going out to eat, so I don't need the chef.
Would you rather take a solo weekend trip or have your house to yourself for 24 hours?
House to myself for 24 hours.
Would you rather say yes to a playdate invite or say no and stay in PJs all day?
Oh, stay in PJs all day. But can I still send my kids to the play date?
Yes. Yes. I know. On all these, I'm like, I want both of these things. I want to have a spontaneous beach day with no packing or planning and sleep in guilt-free with blackout curtains.
Yeah, I don't like blackout curtains.
Why?
I think it's fun in a hotel, but when I'm at home, the sunlight just helps me.
It helps you get up.
It does.
I know, but that's the whole point of the blackout curtains is you can just sleep until your body is like.
I'm also old, so my body doesn't sleep as late anymore.
Okay.
I've hit that phase.
Jeremy and I got to take this trip. Okay, we had the trip planned the COVID year, and so the trip got canceled to Cabo. We had never been to Cabo, and it was some anniversary. So the trip got canceled, but we had already, made all these reservations and stuff. So we had to wait on it. And then those stimulus checks came in. And we were like, we're about to do Cabo, right? So we did the next year we went. So the economy was struggling. So you could get all these deals and stuff like that.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
It's all expensive.
Because it was 2021. And so nobody was really traveling except wild people. So anyway, we stayed at the bougiest hotel in Cabo. And it was a suite. So it had a living room, a kitchen.
Nice.
And a bedroom with like doors on it and stuff like that because Jeremy gets up super early so then I could sleep. But when I tell you, well, okay, there's 2 really cool things about this. One was the toilet was like smart. It was a smart toilet. So when you walked in the bathroom, the lid would open and the water in the toilet would like swish and clean.
What?
And then when you sat on it, you could do like a little bidet situation.
That weirds me out.
Yeah. It was very cool. You could heat the toilet seat. It was a lot of business. All right. So, but that was cool, but that's not what I'm here to talk to you about. My favorite thing of all the cool things about this place that we stayed was the electronic blackout curtains.
So you just press a button?
You press a button next to your bed, and you could have various levels of blackout. But you could get to the point, I mean, these suckers, you are blacked out. Like you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It was incredible. So I could just sleep my little sleep. And then when I was ready to wake up, you just press the button and they just start to open up. And it's like, oh, there's the ocean. This is what God made me for. This is the life I was meant to live.
That is true summer care right there.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it was true summer care. And then you come home and you're like, oh, I'm so rested and refreshed.
But there is no magic laundry fairy.
No. And you come home to these kids and 5 minutes later you're like, dang, I'm ready to go back.
That's right, girl. That's right. Yes.
Okay, so let's think about, why do you think that moms, because I just think it's a almost universal truism that by the end of the summer, we're all like, send these kids back to school. Mm-hmm. We are burned out and tired, and we need to have them back in school. Why do you think this is happening? Like, what are some of the reasons?
I think, I'm not trying to get like super spiritual, but I think God created us for routine. And so anytime you get out of routine, your body has to adjust. And then really there comes a point where it's too far gone. And the summer, at the beginning of the summer, we all have really great attentions and we have great routine. But let's just all agree that by the middle of July, it's survival of the fittest.
Absolutely.
And we just don't have that, like, I know what to expect. It's just every day is something different. Our kids are out of routine. They work so much better. All of us know that when they get their naps on time and their bedtimes on time, it's just everybody's doing better. And so I think there's just something about, I don't know, that whole like year-round school idea where you get 2 weeks off and then you go to school for 2 months or something. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like 2 weeks is good for like, okay, I got a break. I caught up on my sleep. I cleaned out a closet. We had good family time. Now let's go back.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think 3 months is too much.
No, I think that's so real. Is it just like the wheels are all completely off by August 1st? So I think that's good. Lack of routines.
And it's so stressful to think about, like, one day you're in summer and one day you're in school. It's like this really hard U-turn.
It's a huge right turn where you're like, whoa, how did that happen?
So you're like,
Yeah.
That's why I think the 2 weeks free time is so much better, because you haven't gotten so off the rails yet. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing that's hard is that the kids are home all day. So now if you're a homeschool mom, you're probably used to some of this stuff. And so I think that's probably where they have a little bit of a leg up, because they already know how to make this work with the kids being home all the time. But for those of us who our kids are normally like in school outside of the home, all of a sudden they come home all the time and it's like, wow, they're eating constantly.
Oh, it's expensive.
They eat constantly. And so it's not like what is it? They just eat so much more. All the snacks, they want Freezy Pops every day. And I don't know. It just feels like you're feeding them a lot. Mm-hmm. I think it feels like the house stays a lot messier. It's a lot harder to maintain the house because they're here all the time.
Yes.
And so it just feels like things are not getting kind of like picked up in the same way because everybody's here all the time. Mm-hmm. The other one for me is just the heat. And I think for those of us that are in southern states, like we're in Texas, the heat becomes literally, this is not being dramatic, it becomes oppressive. By the time you get to the end of July, it is like when you are walking into the grocery store, which I'm really trying not to do, but you're walking across that black asphalt and you can feel like the skin on your legs like burning a little bit because of the heat coming off the asphalt. Like that, it's just not good. And then you're driving around, everybody's ticked off because they're hot. Mm-hmm. You get in your car and it's hot. The car doesn't even get cool until you get to the next destination,
That's why you park in the back of the parking lot in the shade. You just do.
But then you have to walk across hot lava to get into Target.
If I can get in my car and it not be the leather seats singe my skin, it's a win. I'll do it.
No,
do it.
that's good. Parking under a tree is good. You'll take the bird poop.
I'll take the bird poop.
Yeah.
That just means I get to do a car wash, and those are fun.
So for me, I think one of the things with the heat is then you end up getting trapped inside with the kids. Mm-hmm. And that for me felt suffocating. So
Kate doesn't like to be trapped with her children.
I don't. That's one of the reasons, like COVID, there were a lot of things about COVID and being at home that I really liked because I like being at home. I just like to be at home without all these other people. And they, God bless them, love me a lot and want to spend time with me and talk to me. You know, one of my children has an insatiable appetite for me. And I don't feel the same. I'm crazy about that child, but I could be okay to not be with them constantly. I mean, that's just my personality. You know, we just have different personalities. So for me, I have historically struggled in summer. I especially struggled as a stay-at-home mom. I think I set unrealistic expectations of what summer should look like, and I didn't create any quiet time for myself. And what I started to notice is that I would get the summer scaries. Like heading into like right about this time, I would start to have this like dread in May. And then by July 1st, I mean, honestly, I was in full blown depression and couldn't get out of the bed because of just the constant need, the heat, not being able to just have a quiet time would really get to me. I think some of the other things that contributed to that was that summer depression really got heightened when I had 3 kids. Mm-hmm. And I think that there were various things that were causing that, but some of it was having a little baby and then having big kids, grade school kids, and trying to keep all of them happy and accommodate all their different schedules. And yes, you know, the littlest one needs nap times, and the big ones want to go to summer camps and be with friends and be at the pool in the afternoon, and trying to manage all of that. I don't do well without a steady routine, and the heat makes me angry. And I did a decent job of what we talked about in the last episode of like setting routines and goals for the kids and scheduling fun things, but I forgot to think about me. What routines did I need? What schedule did I need? What were fun or good things that would help me feel good? And I think even saying that out loud as a Christian mom, I feel guilty about that. Like, what do I need? Like, you know, Kate, we're not supposed to be about ourselves, but serving others. And I completely agree with that. And that's the whole role of a mom, is that our lives are about, you know, the benefit and the growth of other people. Absolutely. But I think even when we look to Jesus, who that was his mindset too, of my life is a sacrifice for the good of all of these people. Okay. But Jesus also pulled away and had quiet time with the Father. He knew when his tank was low, and he knew what it was like to be able to kind of get away and get recharged. And in summer, that becomes especially hard for moms. Mm-hmm. And we can let that little piece slip. And you can start to feel like I talked about, where you're like, I'm suffocating or I'm drowning here. Summer depression is what actually sent me back to counseling. I hadn't seen a counselor since I was 20. And so then at 35, it was time to go back, because it was, you know, my sweet husband, I would have to call him in the middle of the day when he was at work in the middle of July and say, I need you to come home and feed the kids lunch. I can't get out of bed. Mm-hmm. And it was true depression. And one of the things that helped me, that the counselor talked to me about, is she was like, Kate, in the same way that there's seasonal depression, you know, people like in northeastern states or in like the Northwest struggle with seasonal onset depression, mm-hmm. because they can't get outside. There's no sunshine, and they start to feel that. People in southern states can deal with something called SOSAD, and it's summer onset seasonal affective disorder. And it's when it's so hot outside.
It's called SOSAD.
It's called so sad.
I'm so sad.
I was like, that is me. I am so sad. Because if you don't get outside, I mean, there comes a time in Texas that if you don't get outside, if you haven't done your outside time by 10 a.m., forget it.
Yep.
And then it may be cool enough after 9 p.m. to get back out there.
Right.
But it just, so then you just I just would feel this feeling of like, I'm locked in this house with these kids. I'm trying to keep everybody happy. Nothing is ever quiet. They want to eat all the time. Everything's a mess. And I would just take to the bed. And it was like in my bed, I could hide away from all of it. And so, my blessed husband was like, I think it's time for you to find a counselor again. And that was so helpful because I was able to talk to her about it. She helped me understand that what I was experiencing, because I felt so much shame. Yes. Like, I'm supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be fun. I'm supposed to want to take everybody to the pool and everything. And
that's that like false narrative that the world has fed us about what moms are supposed to do. Oh my goodness. I meet so many different moms that have so many different personalities and so many different routines. Like, that's part of the beauty of God's people. It's like we can all do different things and be okay. But stop comparing yourself with some pool mom that's living her best life. Let her live her best life.
Absolutely.
But it does not mean that you're not a great mom too.
Yes, absolutely. So in case, you're hearing this and you are, if you're hearing this right now, it's like the middle of May and you may be dreading summer. I just hope that you know that you're not alone. Like, let go of the guilt and shame about that. Summer is just not everyone's favorite, and that's okay. And if you struggle in summer with depression or having blue or like really down days, I hope you hear me saying that like you're not alone in that too. And you don't need to feel shame or guilt about that. There are those of us who that is something that we struggle with a little bit more. And instead of feeling shame or guilt, it needs to be the thing that causes us to press into Jesus. And that is a reminder of that is where we get our hope and our help.
It makes me think about with our kids, because I have 3 kids and they're all so different, that there are things about their personalities that I can see now that I know as adults will still be part of them. Yeah. It's so funny when I think back to my kids as toddlers, how they act as teenagers is actually very similar. And so I think one of the things that as moms, we just need to be that voice of like hope for our kids, like it's okay, honey, if you need some time alone, or if you don't like big parties, or if you don't like sleepovers because you like your own bed. But we have nobody saying those things to us, for us as moms, saying, Mama, it's okay if you just need an hour coffee break alone, or if you would rather eat out tonight. Like just the things that kind of normalize different ways that our personality expresses ourselves. We do that with our kids. Why don't we do that with ourselves?
Absolutely. Something that was so interesting to me recently, my husband's mom had surgery, so she stayed with us for a few weeks so that we could take care of her. And so it, is an interesting dynamic in the house because there's another person and, she wants to interact and talk with the kids and stuff. And so Caroline, my littlest, came home from school one day and Mimi wanted to, immediately start talking with her about her day. And she looked at Mimi and she said, I want to talk to you about this, but I would love to just have a few quiet minutes in my room first. Is that okay? And Mimi was like, absolutely. Yes, go ahead. But when because that got Mimi tickled.
Yes.
Because a 9-year-old doesn't normally talk like that. But it made me so proud because I was like, wow.
Yes.
I praise God that she feels the freedom to be able to say that. And I hope that she's seen me finally, like, it took me a long time to get to the point where I was able to say to my family, hey, I love you and I want to talk to you about this. Could I have just a minute in my room to take a beat and then I'll come back out here with you and I want to hear everything about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it took me a really long time because it felt selfish to say that.
Yes.
Like somebody wants to talk to me. Okay, but your family, they love you and they want what's best for you. And so it's okay to take a beat.
Well, and modeling that for our kids is going to make them healthier adults. Like I think about my daughters all the time. My daughter, I only have one. As a mom one day, and I'm like, I want you to not have to go through the things that I've gone through trying to figure this out. You want them to be healthy moms. So as much as we can do now to teach our kids that stuff and model it for them, praise Jesus, they might actually get to skip some of the hard stuff we had to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So you need to think through a little bit, Mama, like what can help you take care of yourself this summer? There is going to be quite a bit required of you. And so we need to think that through. So I want to share with you some of the things that have helped me. Number 1 was setting clear expectations with my kids about what they can expect from me in the summer. because I think, I had created this cruise director situation where it was like I was going to be the one creating the fun all the time. Or even when it wasn't consciously spoken about, they looked to me as the one that was supposed to be the one. If they were bored, I was going to be the one to figure it out. And so and now that I work outside of the home part of the week, I'll have to sit down with my kids this summer and go, okay, here's what you can expect from me. I'm going to be Fun Mom Friday. So on Friday, I'm going to be all in with you. If you want to go do something fun, then we can do it that day. Otherwise, I'm going to be working mom the other days of the week. Mm-hmm. And so we can plan some fun things. But that doesn't, you may not be able to go do something every day. Your dad and I are going to be working.
Right.
And so, you can't, please don't expect that from me. You're going to be disappointed.
Yes. Yes, but that's good for them. Yes.
Yeah. So store up what is the fun thing that we want to do together, or telling your kids, hey, in the morning, Mama is going to be spending time with Jesus. And so if you come in and you see her sitting down with her Bible, just go ahead and go get yourself a snack. I'll come get you when I'm ready. Or in the afternoons, we're going to have an hour of quiet time. This is something you can expect. This is going to happen every day. Here is what's going to happen during that time. Mm-hmm. You need to stay in your room, and you're not allowed to come into Mama's room. Whatever it is, you just kind of get out ahead of it with some expectations. So they're not just constantly drawing from the well of mom, right, and you get to the point where you're dry.
Right. That's so good.
Number 2, keeping my routine. And there will be parts of your routine that will probably fall off.
Yes.
Because things are just different, because you don't have the school kind of holding you to some of that tension. But the 2 parts of my routine that are non-negotiable for me are spending time with the Lord and walking. I have to do it every day. And some days the day gets too long and I haven't gone for a walk, and my husband does not like me out walking when it's dark outside. And so I walk our street, and I have found out that 4 times around our circle is a mile.
Well, looky there.
And so I'll just, if I somehow ran out of time that day, I just will get out on my street and do a little walk.
That's excellent. Yes.
And my time with the Lord may not be, an hour in the Bible, but right, it could be I wake up that morning, I roll onto the floor, I spend some time in prayer talking to him, and then I turn on worship music while I get dressed. But those are the 2 pieces in my routine that are just non-negotiable.
Well, and it's good that you know those. And if we've got mamas out there that don't know, what are the non-negotiables for my routine, this is a great opportunity to kind of think through that and try some things. Like, you may try the walk and go, yeah, it was okay for me to not do it every day. I'd rather do this. It doesn't have to be, the same thing that Kate has. But I think the one that we all need to have in our life is that time with Jesus. And for those of us that are working moms, like teachers, the summer is the time where I just crave it, because I'm like, I can finally have it again. But if you don't have that opportunity in the summer, then you need to figure out how you can incorporate that into your life every day. And I was just thinking, as you were saying, I walk the circle in my street at night. You could put on worship music or
Absolutely.
A Christian podcast, devotional type thing, and do it together, at the same time. It doesn't have to be separate.
Yes. So good. The other one I would add in is fun. Rebecca is so good for me, because fun is a Rebecca priority. It's not always a Kate priority. And so for me, doing just fun, spontaneous things with the kids in the summer is just that's life-giving for me. So if it's we have some free time and I'm like, hey, let's go get some fun drink and go play pickleball together. Or, let's go to the pool. And then I get in the pool and I play the games with them. We have a headstand contest and we have a flips contest. And we, I just get in with them and fully let loose is, I think, a really life-giving thing for someone who can be pretty structured. And then finally, get help. One of our friends, Christina, who runs a mom ministry, she said, and I've just always clung to this, she said, if they can swipe up, they can clean up. And, if the kids are home in the summer, they need to be helping. And as you're thinking about summer goals and things, they need to have things on their list that they can do. Little kids can clean up their toys. They can put away their clothes. They can, help get food out or get a snack out. Little kids, my my littlest was 6 when she was helping unload the dishwasher. Now, she was doing the kid dishes and all the things that were in the low cabinets, but she was 6 when she started doing that. My kids were, 8. I think Caroline was the youngest. She was 8. But then the older kids were, 12 and 14 when they started doing their laundry all on their own, completely on their own. I just think, we don't give away enough jobs. Mm-hmm. They can make a whole lunch for the family. If you have a 10-year-old, they can make all the sandwiches. They can make every sandwich. They can put out the fruit. They can put out the chips. And then the other kid can clean the whole thing up. Like, they can do all of those things. One of the kids in our family sets the coffee maker for Jeremy and I the night before she goes to bed. That's one of her jobs. The other, we have one kid who's the dish loader. We have another kid who's the dish unloader. All the kids, they do their own laundry. Every Sunday, every kid cleans up their room and make sure their area is ready to go. In the summer, because they're home, they're going to be vacuuming. They're going to be sweeping. They're going to be cleaning bathrooms. They're going to do yard work. Like, we're doing them a disservice when we try and make their lives too easy. Yes, they have had a hard year, and it's totally cool to give them a couple weeks of like super chill, let them sleep in and things like that. But then get everybody on board, hand them a broom, hand them a paintbrush, whatever it is, those things are good for them. It helps them grow as people, build character, and putting a little weight on them. The way that we grow muscles is by having some weight on us. And so if we give them a little weight of responsibility, if we're talking about growing our kids this summer, that is part of how they grow, is by having a little weight on them.
Well, and it's such a low risk opportunity to put the weight on them, that they can try it and fail. They can, try to sweep or mop or whatever and not do a great job the first time. And we can come by and go, that's okay. Let me give you a few tips for next time. So it's such a great opportunity for us to be able to give our kids a safe environment to have that responsibility before they get a job or they, have an assignment at school. And it's like, if they fail that, there's bigger consequences.
Yeah, that's really great. So I did want to close this by, I don't think we talk enough about moms and depression or blues or feeling down. And I wanted to close with a couple of verses that have really been a help to me. And I just need you to know, if you're in a place where you are feeling down, you do get the blues, or you really don't like summer, please know that you're not alone. Whenever I go and talk to a mom's group and I talk about depression or something, it never ceases to amaze me how many moms come and talk to me afterwards, how many message me about, thank you so much, I've been struggling with this, but I was too ashamed to say anything. Mm-hmm. And so I just want you to know that this is a very real thing that we tackle. And I would love to give you these 2 verses that have been like life ropes that I have clinged to when I start to feel myself going down into the pit. And this first one is Psalm 94, 18 through 19. And it says, when I thought, my foot slips, your steadfast, O Lord, held me up. When the cares of my heart were many, your consolations cheer my soul. And so when you feel that foot slip, when you feel like, it's coming, my eye's starting to twitch, or I'm not wanting to get out of the bed in the morning, or my temper's getting really short, that is that foot slip. You're starting to feel, I'm going down into the pit. And you cry out to the Lord. Mm-hmm. Let him be the one that holds you up. Let him console and cheer your soul. And then Micah 7:8. I love this one because we have to fight back against the enemy who wants to keep us down. This is Micah 7:8, and it says, do not gloat over me, my enemy. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. Mm-hmm. And I remember even laying in the bed and just being under the covers and saying that out loud to the enemy, knowing I was going to get out of that bed, that he had no reason to gloat over me. God was going to give me the victory. And so I want you to know that you are not alone in this, and that there are things you can do to fight back. And so get the help that you need. Mama, grow your summer care. Make sure that you are watering yourself so that you can water those little beautiful plants in your homes, that you all flourish this summer. We love you so much, mamas. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.